Alright, welcome. Right, I gotta do stuff. Okay, pop. Over here, pop. Okay. Yeah, just gotta get my voice back a little bit. Let's see. Extreme mode, there we go. I think I'm just talking a little bit quiet. So, okay. So if that's what's happening with the volume, that might be why. Let's see. Just gotta open my drawer a little bit. Let me get some water real quick. Okay. Ready. Let that load up. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's all loaded up. Okay. Looks like chat's working great. Okay. Welcome. Doing good. Doing good. How you guys doing? Hello. Yeah, we're gonna do the, I guess just for context of this, is that we're doing the, second round of the, 6 fan art thingies. Last time it went pretty good. That was really fun. Definitely took me out of my, comfort zone, to do this. So hopefully, yeah, this will be round 2 and it should be just as fun, hopefully. I know that some of these, I know more of these characters, but definitely some of them are going to be trickier for their own merits, I guess. But yeah. Anything else I should talk about? I don't think so. If everything's working good. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that last time. Well, I know sort of what happened, where YouTube broke itself, where, I guess for those 10-20 minutes, on Thursdays, last Thursday stream, yeah, for that period of time, yeah. So hopefully, yeah, we'll see if, a little bit apprehensive that's like, that could happen again, you know, but it's unlikely, but it might, so, hopefully, if it does happen, if it takes like way longer, then I'm okay if you guys leave in the middle of it. Let's see. Oh, guys, there you go. Broke forever. Yeah, the whole system on YouTube broke for that period of time. Hello, Imperial pint. Cool. It's really small. I can't really read the names. All right. Guess I could go into this. I don't know how long each of those will take. So what we got? I can zoom in on these. You guys can read them better. So also context is that this stream or no, the ideas for the characters that's closed. So that's I had this I think on Wednesday I had a YouTube community post. I had a YouTube community post saying like, hey, basically give me some characters to draw as suggestions. So it's been almost a week since then. So yeah, these are these ideas for new characters is closed, just so otherwise instead of doing the 6 character challenge, I'll be doing the 37, and it's just like it's not gonna work. But there were so many other people during the first one who kept like asking that. That'll be worth it to do it as the second round. But anyway, 6 characters that were planned to do, but I guess we could change because we could change some of these if they're like really weird. But I don't think. I think they're actually pretty good. But yeah, once we get into them, we got Heather. I'll probably put a drawn to life, because otherwise Heather doesn't mean much. GLaDOS. We'll find out how to pronounce that once we get there. Judy Hops from Zootopia. And then get some fun ones down here. Ultra Magnus from Transformers. Is that the one in the original movie where like instead of Optimus Prime, it's now Ultra Magnus? I think that's it. It wasn't the orange one. I'll research all these before I do them. So I've already researched how to do Heather, so I'll do Heather first. The Terminator. So that'll be fun. I haven't watched any of the movies, so I don't know. anything really about how the whole lore of it. So that would be fun when we get there. And it's Spinell from Steven Universe. I can put a little SU in there. Steven Universe. There we go. Not that that's tricky enough for me. But yeah, thank you guys for giving me the suggestions. This is gonna be a fun little group. So yeah, the plan of today is just to do one in this hour, and then we'll do each one as a separate stream. So we'll get through all of these today. We'll do them probably like in 1 week to 3 weeks. So in like 3 weeks we'll get this done, kind of a thing. So in case you weren't here for the other ones, that's gonna be the plan. There we go. All right. How we doing? Okay for the stream. Thank you. Alright guys. Yeah. Hopefully be less of a challenge than the Bob Ross one, where instead of like drawing a Bob Ross painting, which takes some effort and skill, I had it like upside down, where I flipped the entire monitor upside down, the display of it. So now we should reasonably get back to normal kind of stuff. But yeah, maybe we'll just jump onto it. Okay. Anything else that's a little wonky? I think we're good. Checking the stream over here. I think everything looks good. Alright. Volume should be pretty good. Let's see. Oh, that was really fun doing the Bob Ross, yeah. Maybe like totally like flip my whole brain upside down, but also kind of like not, because I'm already kind of left and right flipping. I can flip my brain, or like images in my brain, like really quickly or accurately. So if something's like, you know, on the left side, if I need something that's on a painting, if like this was the original and you drew something there, then I'd be like, okay, then that needs to be on the bottom right, top left. There we go. Okay. So I did the left right, but then there's also the challenge of it being upside down both axes. So that was a fun exercise to be able to do that. Because otherwise, you know, if you just flip it left and right, then it's like, oh, well, this is on the left, so you just draw it on the right. But then it's upside down, which means that y-axis is also inverted, so the top is now the bottom, so you draw it over here instead. So, as well as just the general skill of just trying to draw using my weird flash tools instead of actual paint. So yeah, it was fun. If I had to do it again, probably just, you know, not do it with that upside down challenge. Or might be interesting, but it might also be more complicated because I've done it upside down, that I could just do it left and right flipped instead, or Y flipped, up and down flipped. So let's get in here. Okay. This will be Heather. There we go. Perfect. And there we go. And got references over here. Let's get this a little bigger. There we go. I can see a little better. Let me open this in a new tab, actually. That might be easier. There we go. That should work. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Don't have to flip the whole monitor. Well, I could have also done it. I thought one of your suggestion was to do it like with me upside down somehow. So, yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so I'm gonna try and just block this out with the simple sketch that you've probably seen before. How do I do this? And then have more layers of being more refined, but I'm thinking about what kind of pose I'm thinking. It's an original sprite. I guess I can just show you this. This is what I'm working with. The original sprite is pretty basic. These are probably interpretations, I guess, by Schmobel. So I'm gonna see. Probably gonna go for maybe something this aesthetic, but also the same aesthetic that I've probably been doing. So obviously using this is a little bit trickier to just immediately know how to figure out how it works, or like what part's what. So I would do it the same way as I usually do. Let's see. Oh boy. There's some official art. Okay. Because all I got was that spider one that looked pretty good. Yeah, the official art is more like this, I think. Or especially this one. Maybe? I don't know. Scared to keep drilling in there. I think some of those, yeah, the more watercolory. Looks like it's printed, scanned on kind of thing. Okay. Okay. First one looks like, okay. Is the first one this one? Okay. Nice, like, outlines. Like, the outline colors are like, this is red, but like this is darker. Sort of like near black, but it's also like sort of red as well. Some like overlaps with the colors as well. Like as if it was colored. Haha, I get it. Okay. That's enough of that. So that when I draw mine, you'll be able to cross-reference with that. Oh well. The other one? Okay. Looks like it was printed from like a strategy guide or something. But I like the first one that I showed you. I showed ya. Because that kind of fits with the proportions better for the sprite. Something like that. Anyway, let's get going on this in circles. Don't need to be perfect at all with this, but just like some kind of fluid motion, maybe. Some kind of body, I guess. Kind of like arc this, maybe. Yeah, let's go like that. Yeah. Oh boy. So an art book. Oh, cool. I didn't know Drawn to Life would have an art book. It seems like the one to like not have a strong art book. Cause like the whole, if you don't know, it's a DS game that I played like over 10 years ago. That feels old. Where the main gimmick is that you can design your own characters and like different, everything that like everyone like relies on you to like draw the world, like down to enemies and like different platforms. So to solve different platform challenges, you gotta like draw what would be a way to overcome the obstacles. So you gotta fight the darkness or something with your own drawings. So it was really cool. It was very, obviously very creative in how they sort of managed to figure out a way to use your drawings as elements that exist inside of the world. Oh boy. I booked from the Pseudominute, which... Oh, okay. Cool. But yeah, it was really cool. I think they made like a sequel. I don't think I've played that one, but I definitely played like the first one. And it feels like... That's been like 15 years ago or something, right? Because it's probably like... Feels like early 2000s, I think. I don't remember. I just played it later. Just might have been messing with my release time log. Timeline of that. It's got a pretty wide head. Just gotta keep that. And then she's got the weird aesthetic of it being different colors, like she's being taken over. Oh boy. Cool. What was that? There's magic. Oh, cool. Is that the pony one? I think I got that. I think it's got it over there. I have the Art of Equestria art book for pony, if that's what you're talking about. That was really cool. It has like a whole like page or like spread for like storyboards. Yeah. Let's see. Basically just going over what I had, but I think a pretty good first draft of this. I think your arms are thinner, so I'm gonna make them like that. And then here's her hand. Okay, and then these kind of maybe like that. I don't know. Looks pretty good. I'll just kind of tip over here. Okay, and then eyeball. Whoop, 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 and then whatever here. There we go. I can do better. There's this. Okay. Eyes like that, which isn't exactly how... Or I could do the up. That works. Let's see. Don't have ears, but we got hair things. Hair things go down. Hair things go over. Hair things go that way. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah, it's really cool. I think I got pretty far into it. I don't think I've finished it, the original game. Probably just because there was... Maybe just... I feel like I either, like... You know, like, forget games if they're, like... They're too challenging, or, like... I lose interest somehow. So... I really don't, like, finish too many games, honestly. This feels like a really nostalgic to go back into one of these types of games. And it's just, like, it's really just like, for fun, you know, there's no... You know, it's not like the Kingdom Hearts where you gotta, you know, be able to get into Kingdom Hearts 3, you have to, like, you know, play, like, every single other 15 other games. You have to play, like, 15 other games and play Kingdom Hearts 3. It's like, no thanks. I also don't really have a way to play it either, so that kind of helps. Little furry ears, I like these. There's not too many more details in here. And it just like becomes a dress. So like kind of show that. Got this to work off. I think that's a pretty good start. I could refine it, but I think we can keep going with this. Oh, I'll work with this. Okay. Let me just play with the proportions a little bit because that'll be harder to do once it's kind of already set up. There we go. I'll just make this a little smaller. That's better. Like that. Yeah. Make the head bigger. There we go. Make it more chibi. Like so, and then bigger ear things. Make it more rounded. Okay. Get rid of that. I've been using Photoshop more recently, so this is kind of weird to go back into this. And I was like, oh yeah, I actually have vector to play with, you know, instead of raster using rasters, which I thought I wouldn't be the biggest fan of. That's why I like using Flash more, because Flash uses vectors, which means that I can draw literally a line and be able to, you know, use these weird points and be able to move them like that. With raster, you can't really do that. You would have to redraw it or like move the pixels around. So I don't know. I have to do some design work with Midnight Mares to do some more character designs and stuff. Some new characters. So I decided to use Photoshop because I thought we already have like a template already made in Photoshop, so I might as well just, you know, it'd be easier for me as well. Then I'm not, you know, relying on it being the same software that I would have, you know, already made it in, or like make the final version in. That would lose some sort of something out of that. Boy. Good night. How long was that? Okay. Okay. Detail 2 has better gameplay. Oh, okay. Story. Oh, okay. Yeah, the story in the first one was a little bit weird. Obviously, I didn't get to the end, but I know that there is a little weird twist, I guess. Or maybe that is the second one where it has that weird ending. That's not colored in right now. This will be the skull. Okay. Okay. So I'm just basically just blocking in the different shapes here that I've already like sort of drew in already. But now I'm using a line tool to be able to more precisely, as I don't know how to do this, more precisely give better lines. You can see like between a brush and like this line here, just for example, is that it has less points than what this has. So it's just easy for me to have better looking line work if I use a line tool. That's why. Probably should also get these lines to be capped that way. There we go. Should be able to, there we go. Okay, let's see. Pretty squish head. There we go. Let's get one of this risen. Okay. That's just kind of like this rumor that I'm trying to, don't exactly know, but it's like, yeah, that seems pretty intense, I guess, is a word for that. That's what I'm thinking of. It's probably not. I don't know. I just remember, like, I think the only memory I have, like, of playing Drawn to Life is that it has making the character, like, the main character, and then doing some cloud puzzles, or, like, cloud platforming. That's, I'm sure that's, like, in the first hour, so I don't know why I don't have more, memories. Probably, I feel like I might have only just really played it for, like, a couple hours. But I feel like I did it for longer, but maybe I just played with the first, I probably played like the first level a lot. That's probably what I'm thinking now. I'm not sure. So I got a puffy thing, and then here's this will be white here. Okay. Soundtracks. Yeah. It's a good thing that, you know, you suggested this, Cookie, because I know somewhat about it. Yeah. I just don't know, you know, the extent of everything about it. Like the real extent of the whole game, I guess. More than, it's kind of just happened, I guess. Never really showed up. He's not like in Smash Bros. As a trophy or anything, really, is he? Is his name Maxwell? No, that's Scribblenauts. Probably digging up that more. I think, yeah, more people are familiar with Scribblenauts than Drawn to Life. I think Scribblenauts came... It's probably not the same studio, I think. But it's definitely got the same kind of appeal that you can do whatever you want. I guess that appeals more to people where Drawn to Life kind of expects you to, like, you know, you gotta be, like, somewhat of an artist to be able to really do it, I guess. I don't know. I guess it kind of appealed to me then that it's like, oh, you want an elephant or whatever? It's like, sure, you know. Rather than what Scribblenauts is like, you gotta be able to spell elephant is the main gimmick with that. Oh boy. Scribblenauts was the same people? Oh wow. It definitely did feel like the same kind of, same aesthetic and everything. That just relies on your creativity. But yeah. I feel like I definitely played Scribblenauts too, but I felt like I didn't really like it that. I started to like now because I played them so separately that now it's like, well, I could try and say like one's better than the other, but it's just like, yeah, it's for different crowds, I think. Like Professor Layton and all those games, it's like, oh well, the only way to be able to really win the game is if you know how to like spell, or what Professor Layton is just how much time you have to figure out the puzzles, you know. Rather than like, you know, it's not like a Mario game where if you just keep trying, you most likely will figure it out. With Professor Layton, it's like you could play like one puzzle for like 5 or 7 hours or days, and then once you get the solution, it's like, what? You know, there's still the chance that you like still have no idea what they wanted out of you. With Mario, it's like, oh well, did you jump on the pipe, you know, when there was a piranha plant on it? It's like, oh yeah, I definitely saw that as a hazard, and then shows my execution incorrectly, you know, rather than the opposite. Weird game design like that. I don't know. I definitely played the first Layton. I probably played the second one for a bit. I might have had their game, but I don't think I've actually really played it. I know it had to do with like the kid in the future self, and I was like, I don't know about that, so I didn't even play it. Move, circle, yeah. I'm more of a Ace Attorney guy. I like the Phoenix Wright. I play that. I play basically all the, at least the localized Ace Attorneys, so I'm more a fan of that than Professor Layton. Especially with those, it's like Ace Attorney is like, well, you can still kind of figure it out. With Layton is like, well, did you know that, you know, when we didn't say that it was Wednesday, that you were supposed to know that it was? You know, it's like, oh, well, you didn't really explain that as an actual clue in the puzzle, but it's like supposed to already know. The only way to figure it out is if you just knew this other, like, not known thing kind of stuff. That doesn't happen often, but it's just like that sometimes happens. Or like you're supposed to, like, especially the first one, like, of all the, like, word puzzles, I feel like some of them had that kind of feel to them, where they were just like generic popsicle stick puzzles or like riddles, than actual, like the later ones where they're more, have to be more creative as they, you know, put in so many puzzles in the first couple games. But yeah, the crossover with Ace Attorney and Phoenix Wright is one of my favorites. That was really well done. Did I beat it? I think I might have beat that one. I definitely saw that to the end. Yeah, so I was like, I gotta beat this. Because I beat all the other trilogy Phoenix Wrights and the Apollos. So, just had to beat that crossover. See that to the end. I think I'm currently playing the... I say currently, which means that every other airplane ride I played a Spirit of Justice, which is the newer Phoenix Wright. I guess the one that's after the Sherlock Holmes one, because Americans don't know about, you know, a copyright-free public domain guy. I don't know what was up with that. Capcom's weird with their what they want to localize or whatever with the Miles Edgeworth investigations. I think one of those wasn't localized. It's really weird. I'm doing a hair now. Back on this. Yeah, it's not much more to say than kind of just going through my sketch and then just making them a little bit more refined here. That's about it. Let's see. How you guys doing now? Okay. Yeah, I think the crossover one was really good. It did feel like you were playing two games at once, like every like half hour you're playing a completely different mode. So that was really cool. Without like too weird of puzzles, like the Phoenix Wright ones seemed to be like, you know, lower level. Like they weren't like the, you know, like final bosses in Phoenix Wright or what was it, Professor Layton. They weren't like the really hard ones. So that was good too, that they made the crossover puzzles easier. I feel like even like to the end, like with the final chapters, it still kind of felt like, can you get the horse over the other side using the bridge that we give you? Way to go, you did it. Kind of puzzles is just like, oh yeah, great, alright. Like you kind of sort of expect it to get a little bit more challenging, but like it never really gets there ever. So that was a little bit weird. But other than that, yeah, it was really fun. The courtrooms are different, so that helps too. That there's variety to that as well. That they have like a trial system. Because believe it or not, the Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright attorney games don't have a jury. Really? So you just kind of, you know, you just gotta like make sure that your evidence kind of works, you know, with your defendant, and then you win, kind of thing. Rather than you're just kind of just testifying and like making sure that all the evidence kind of works for the judge, rather than you know, like in America with a jury. So that was it's the future in California or whatever. So it's a little bit different. Yeah. And blading them, they're really good. It's hard to like recommend them now. Well, I guess they're on newer systems. Like you can probably just play like Phoenix Wright on an iPhone or whatever. Yeah, they're really fun. That's what I mean. It's a future version of what a Japanese courtroom looks like. So I think eventually, like in Spirit of Justice, they also have like more rules, and they probably took the inspiration from the crossover one to add some kind of jury or like some extra element to make it more fair. That you're just not, you know, working off the judge really the whole time. It is a bit like inconsistent or like not realistic. Even in, because in the localization with the original Phoenix Wright, they obviously don't want it to be, you know, set in Japan, because who knows about Japanese culture? So they have it set in this. I think they're originally were set in the future, so that's not the problem. But they have it like be in like California, like San Francisco or something. But they never really, because it was localized, so it doesn't actually have that as a original thing. But the script never really calls that out because they made it up. So, but a lot of times there's always these. And you do your investigation as a lawyer. You do these investigations where you go on foot to find out the evidence for yourself, where you talk to people. A lot of those locations are very Japanese culture based. So sometimes they poke at fun of that. That's just like, why is this here in California? And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's a Japanese festival instead of a city. It's like, gee, Nick, why look at all these pretty decorations? And it's like, oh man, they must be really into Japanese culture. Haha. It's just like, okay. And they set themselves up for like that kind of trap where can't really fix it, you know, like change it so much that you lose it, but you also have the trap of like, yeah, it's so ingrained in them now. Can't not be that. So I don't know. I think the crossover, they did a good where they had them be inside of a storybook. So like they're both at a disadvantage kind of thing. Where they don't have like their home turf to be able to play with. Like Phoenix Wright has to do with the trial system, and then it was Layton has to like figure out this new world and like the how they work and try to figure out like how the townsfolk do their normal business. And that's getting there. Probably want to fix some of these lines or whatever. Ooh. Or just want to just get rid of that. I don't know. Let's see. Probably want to make this thinner. I don't know how creepy this will look. It's kind of creepy. I don't know. That's good. Okay. Trying to figure this out. I think the zigzag thing will be once we're coloring it. So I'm not worried about that right now. Let's get the ears in probably. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I'm just looking at the guide or the reference as a guide more than anything. And what I've drawn as well to make sure that everything that I've drew here, try to retranslate it into what I've drawn here, you know. That if I drew these lines in a particular way or not, or I made them so sketchy that I don't have to like reinterpret it as I draw these here. And figure out that that's not going to work there, and that's going to work a little better there. kind of thing. Also reinterpret it also with the lines that I'm used to. Or instead of being like mountains, you know, for certain things, or making them like this, like I can make them more rounded like that. So that's what I've done there. Kind of weird things. With that, not worried about overhang. Some of these, just making sure that there's, because sharp corners and edges don't look cute. That's what I've learned over all of this. I don't know, because I don't usually do this too often. Usually what I do is, you know, with my pony stuff, is that I'm taking the pony stuff and then translating it, or taking the regular stuff and translating it into pony kind of stuff. So if I needed like a Sherlock Holmes pony, then I would, you know, take the hat and then hat and hair and put it all together, rather than do the opposite or not use ponies at all kind of thing as well. I don't really do this that's why this is a challenge, and I'm not quite doing this often enough to be able to use these weird skills. When I draw characters, I feel like I try to draw them on model as possible, because I think that probably helps as well. Like if I go into like a studio, then they'll probably enforce it quite strictly to be on model. So if you're just doing like fan art, it's like that's fun, you know, it's like trying to do like a doodle or just do it at home or whatever. But if you want to just like sit down and go, I want to draw this character, it's like I feel like I'd be best to stay on model as close as you can. Just again, if you want it to be, imagine if you're on an animation team, they wouldn't want you to draw, you know, some kind of character where, oh, I like it when horses have square heads and triangle bodies, and then pass that off, you know, and say like, hire me, Hasbro, I like to draw horses like this, when they're gonna say like, we don't draw them like that. Even if it's storyboard, it's like, storyboards are basically like taking just the outlines of the Flash puppets. So, or they're very like if you try to like make a comic book style version of those characters, it's like that's basically what you're drawing with the storyboards. They're not super separated from the model. So, but yeah, I feel like it'd be best as just for practice to do it on model as I can, but at the same time, it's like, oh, if you just want to do like a fan art just for fun, just for giggles, just for yourself, then it's fun. But if you want to do it more, less for yourself, but just to get your own skills high enough, then you want to draw it as on model as you can. I would think it would be better to do. Of course, take it from me from no experience of anything, with studios or anything. So, look where I am. So, but yeah, I feel like that would be the best option. Would just be, when in doubt, I think probably stay on model. Unless it's these very specific cases where it's like, hey, this will be fun. Let's just do it like this for no reason, or try to draw it in a different way, which be thinking outside of your comfort zone as well. That's also the case where you're trying to draw it like that weird abstract one where you can draw them however you want. That's pretty good. I know there's a bunch of overlaps and stuff, but yeah, we'll get going on it. I'll start coloring it. We're doing pretty good on time, but I think some of these might be, probably want to redraw some of this as I go along, as well as just clean up as well. You'd be surprised with the storyboards of like how close they are to on model. They seem to look. But I know that, you know, some of them do. It's on a case by case, obviously, whether or not per storyboard or per production and per whatever else skill or whatever, how far into development the story or the series is. based on if they're, like if it's episode 1, then the storyboards might look a little bit looser, just because they don't really have a set, version of how these characters should look, because like their designs will also vary greatly as well. Yeah, depends on the show and how they, exactly, interpret it. Certain things, but yeah, I think on the most part of what I've seen is that based on the artist or how good or how close they are to knowing about the source material, then they'll draw it as close as they can to on model. I could be wrong. Oh boy. Get a copy of storyboard examples where the post movie episode definitely did. Yeah, I'll have to look at the art of request for you, because that had a lot of storyboards in that one, where they had like whole sections for certain episodes. It's probably in there. You can kind of see like how they, how each artist really takes it into their own style. How to soup. Not consistent, but yeah, it is because it's different artists and you didn't show using actual models for the post. Actual models. If you mean the actual models of the Flash puppets, then yeah, that they have something more concrete than like a traditional frame by frame cartoon. But even then, like there's still like, I feel like there's more sense of trying to be back and forth between trying to be on model between, like a Steven Universe, like that famously had like, every storyboarder had their own style of drawing characters, so every episode or looked very different of how to draw the characters. So there was no really consistency with that. I mean, we see like how the fans also kind of like take that as well. How they take that as a sense of it being not very consistent and everything, So you never know. Movie, well, they kind of had to with the movie, that it had different versions of the characters, I guess you can say. That the characters themselves were being drawn in a different style, so we put in different software, so that became more of a focus that they wanted to make it, probably just for continuity and checks and stuff. If you had a character that, in the storyboard looked completely different than how it's going to look in a movie proper, then that's going to be a little bit trickier to like understand what's going on for continuity. So maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, Flash Robots. The only faces are most important in the walking storyboard. Yeah. Just kind of forgot that we're trying to have the time the face looks off. Yeah, I feel like in the more recenter episodes, they were focusing more on like, how can we, push this expression further than we did last time? And then you just kind of built up from there, where they're making a pseudo competition out of it between probably the storyboarders. Just like they express like everything else, so might as well just go all out, rather than making it, because they're probably more conservative in the first seasons, just because they didn't have all the assets, prepared really, per se. Like if you needed like certain like faces, like you would have to make the base puppet mouths. So just being able to just make the puppet frames of it being wow wow would just be enough for like the first couple episodes. Be able to just like that took enough effort to make those, that then to also say, hey, can you also do it where like in season 8, it's like, hey, what if we had Pinky like unhinge your jaw like halfway? It's like, no. Don't do that. Yeah, like way too much pressure on the animators. to as well do these extreme, you know, before they like really know that the effort to do that would also pay off rather than working really hard just to make it work and then say, hey, we need this completely seemingly unnecessary kind of a expression as well. I just feel like it's sort of a logistics thing as well to do. So, you never know. Oh yeah, exactly. That they did have exaggerations, but I think like in the first, you know, episode, I feel like it didn't really have as many as they do now. We can say that kind of a thing. But I understand it, yeah. There will be exaggeration, but it's just like it seems to be more exaggerated as it goes on. Kind of thing as well. So, this guy has black eyeball, so it's hard to know what their eye color is. Too much. Let's go here. There we go. Let's make it there, maybe. That's better. Okay. Then a model of exaggerated faces. Exactly. Probably already read that. Sorry. Faces 8 and 9 were good, but not for multi. Look weird on ponies. I think so. Probably just again trying to make it too exaggerated, or just, you know, excuse you. Doesn't really fit exactly, because it's supposed to be like marshmallow ponies running around that they're not, you know, able to make certain faces, you know, exactly all the time. So I don't know. I kind of get what you're getting. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I was saying bless you. Richard puppets that can bend under your facial limbs. That's what we see. Sorta, yeah. As we see more and more new faces. Getting more comfortable, I guess. I don't know. Again, it's that kind of resource, you know, payoff kind of thing as well. There's no cheek on this end. Okay. That the payoff of making those exaggerated faces don't really always equate to something, I guess, in you know, just for like the shortness of it. For some of these where they only really show up for like one shot, really. To be able to make something that's like exaggerated face somehow, where it's like, whoa, kind of a thing. Or, you know, just like, weird lizard face, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't know. To be able to make this entire, like, design, because everything usually in TV, it seems to be very, like, you get a script, and then it's like, oh, in the script it says, make a big face or not, or maybe there's the storyboarder who says that, and then you have to have another person, like, make a concept design for these, like, specific faces. Like, everything's really just taken as, like, oh, we need a cell phone or whatever as a prop in this scene. It's like, well, we gotta actually know what it looks like. So there's, like, actually a lot of, like, steps to, like, well, we need a cell phone. So it's like, well, what kind of cell phone does that mean? Is that, like, this kind of, like, you know, like a smartphone thing? Or based on what kind of setting it is it, like, a futuristic, like, some kind of wristband thing that kind of glows or something, like a thing? And it's like, what does that look like based on what series it is? So once you come up with this kind of design, then you can, like, make a whole concept sheet for it. And then make that into like a, you know, like a flash puppet, and then use that in a shot. So it's like, there's a lot of steps, and then that's like, that cost to like pay for that many steps to do is just like, that's why I don't see it too often. But it seems like they're getting more liberal with it as I find out that that's a lot of work. That's it. It's not exactly just for flash animation, but just like for anything really in general. From what I understand, that they do a lot more behind the scenes out there. There's more steps to like anything, that it's not just like, oh, I need something, you know, if I'm gonna draw something that's a prop, it's like this is what I'm thinking it's gonna look like, and then I just draw it and then put it in Flash or a cartoon. It's just like you gotta, you know, what if Bob has to, you know, do the next shot? What if you have like a prop here and I draw it like this, and if I didn't communicate with Bob to say like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, we have this thing that we have to draw, and then Bob draws it like this, and it's just like, but you didn't, you know, let's make it more different. That is just like, that's not the same thing. So that's why we need this like perfect model sheet to be able to say, this is what it looks like, and here's all the information and colors, and then you can put this into Flash and then be able to just copy and paste it into, you know, your scene. And then everyone else can, you know, Bob and Sid can use that same file and be able to copy and paste it into the thing. So I'm sure they have like these deep resources and libraries more than, you know, what we really realize, that they're making these more concept things and other stuff. So I'm definitely seeing much more than what you'd think is being concept arted than just like, oh, it's just like, oh, well, of course that's what it looks like because we're so used to it being like that, like houses and landscapes and stuff. It's like, oh, well, somebody needs to actually like sit down and someone would make it as a traditional like pen and paper drawing. It's just like a big landscape, and then scan it in and then have someone or the same person, I don't know, draw it in vector or Flash, and then be able to make that as separate layers. And then it's like, oh, this is what a house looks like. It's like, well, you know, I guess you can go further into that and say, well, what does this house look like from this angle? And then you can make a whole new sheet for that. So it's like, it gets more complicated than they're just like, oh, we'll just need to design a couple things and that's it. It's just like, yeah, I feel like it's a little bit more than that to really make it. This is white, I guess. That's white. Yep, that's the white. And what you expect. So, could be wrong, but it just seems that what I've seen with, you know, researching a bunch of this, that's sort of how it kind of goes, where a lot more details into thinking more about the world than what you expect. That's what I'm saying. So, just to say like, well, there's more facial expressions. It's just like, that makes sense if that's the case, that they're, you know, by the time it takes to just make the normal mouth shapes might take, you know, a couple weeks or more, and then it's just like, well, you just got to jump into production rather than thinking about like, well, what if in this shot she, you know, had this bigger expression. If it's needed, then obviously you need to, but having an extreme version of an extreme pose or face or whatever, it's like you gotta need a little bit more time to figure it out, just based on how they do, especially outsourcing it as well. Because obviously if I could just like, you know, look over someone and go, oh, like that's how you're drawing it, you know, if someone's over there I can look at how they draw it and then I kind of figure it out, or, you know, kind of look at it and say like, oh, I can draw that. You're being really confident with that. But what if they're like across the world, you know? And that's when it becomes like, you gotta really sit down and figure things out, rather than just relying on, oh, well, they'll know what, you know, if it's something specific, like, oh, well, it's a 1920s telephone, you know, like one of those wall ones. It's like they might have an idea of what that is, but at the same time, you just want to make sure that everyone's on the same boat. Anyone to feel left behind, or just, it just like creates creates more continuity if everything is consistent. So that's just what I feel with that. Anyway, we're actually almost done with this. Just colored this in with the same colors I had, and probably just leave the arm actually like that. That's pretty good. I'm missing the back hair. Let me actually sketch that in. And then we'll feel pretty confident with that. Okay. Alright. Blue Angels Flurry House. Oh, wow. I thought they weren't going to do that. Or maybe everyone else would have missed it. That's incredible. Womp. It's not the color. Well, there we go. Gotta get the back here. Forgot to do that earlier. Okay, just make this real quick as a sketch and then go from there. And then this kind of goes up and around. Womp, womp. Womp, womp. Womp, womp. Okay. Then I could just use this as a whatever base here and go, yep, I know exactly what I mean by this. As well as, yeah, if you have like multiple people doing the same pose or picture as well, it's gonna be, I want to be as clean as possible, so don't have to clean this up, but because I know that I'm gonna be doing it, but just be like nice and label your layers. So many people. I worked on a team project, like in 2014 or whatever, with Kim Possible a lot, I think. I think one of the animators used was Russian, and they must have, got used to just like using their native tongue to label things, which is like, oh, that's good, that you label everything, but you also had everything labeled in Russian. So I don't remember if they changed the actual layers for everything, like the puppets, but I know like probably like the, for animation, like, I need the background layer, and then like pony, and then props and top layers and stuff. So that was fun, because I was the animation checker, make sure continuity, and just if it's anything like a little bit off, like with some frames, I would be able to go into those animation files and then check them, and not really redo them, but basically redo them. Just like check them to make sure that lip syncs and stuff work. Animation checker, I guess. So that was fun to go into their shots and then see like, oh well, it's Rusk, and it's like, cool. I don't know what that means. So thankfully it wasn't like too much of a language barrier, that it's still like visual enough to like look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah. Like I can select this layer and go, up, that's highlighted this. So label layers, but also probably want to make sure that, but the general language of what you're working with as well. Check your other co-workers' languages. It's probably not too essential, but it just seems more courteous. That, never know if someone else needs to take it up and then they're like, I'm not able to read half of this or 100% of it. So that happened. That was fun. Like for my other projects, I've been localized to just Americans or just English speakers, so there wasn't much of another problem like that. So, but yeah, just label your layers, please. Not labeling these just because I'm on a time crunch. If I did this on my own, I probably might, just because if I wanted to make this into a puppet, like animate it, I probably would want to. I would definitely want to, because then I'll be able to click on each of these and make a box here, make a symbol, an equal, whatever it is. Be very specific with this. Don't say like hair. This is hair. It'd be like, oh, I need Heather, hair, face or top, and that'd be like my whole like symbol name. And then once I go into my library, it's like, oh, I need Heather bits, and it's like, oh, here's Heather, and then all these different parts to be able to use. So this is just a picture, so I'm not too worried about it right now exactly. But yeah, the time it would take to like actually like label all these would be a bit much. Not really, exaggerating at these. It takes a while to label everything, but it's worth it in the end that you're able to look at all of it and then be able to just look at the layers themselves and be able to figure things out. So that's what you want to do it for. Anyway, I think we're just about done. We're done with the stream time as well. I think we're good. We just have to add the background. Get these to be guides if they're guides. Let's go here. Rectangle. What should the background be? What color? What's like an iconic? Usually kind of go for like eye colors or iconic colors that are in the source material itself, maybe, or whatever they're associated with. Like for the Wally one, I had it be like space background color, and some of the others, like Half-Life Dude, I was like orange for Orange Box, so stuff like that. Light blue. Okay, let me get the box in. There we go. Blue, light blue. Not worried about being overloaded or overlapping, I should say, because it's going to be masked just like that. There we go. So I went outside to the symbol, and then I already have a guide or a mask on it. So I have the mask here and then have this inside of it. So the mask is the box. So that works. Okay. I think we're good. All right. Clouds use orange. Okay, I'll do that. I think blue looks actually pretty contrasty. I like that. Don't want to change too much, but I'm sure if I look at it more, look at the original, I'll see some more things. Zoom out a little bit. Probably should zoom back right to it. Okay. Okay. So that's one. There we go. And we'll do the next ones over the next couple weeks. Let me check. Oh, thanks YouTube for giving me an email about I'm live. Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll be sure to get the other fives again in due time. All right. I'm gonna go to toast time, and then we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you. All right. So as we continue, if you don't know, on the Thursday, where I'll do, I guess, GLaDOS, so I guess I can hop around. Maybe do hops. I don't know. But we'll definitely get through all of them, so don't worry about that. But yeah, I guess what, I'm live streaming. Uh-oh, thanks for watching. Welcome back. Okay. I don't know why. I guess I can probably figure out a way to, you know, not get those notifications, or at least not emails from them. This is kind of helpful in case there's an identity theft, I guess, and it's like, oh, Yoshi's streaming. It's like, wait, no, I'm not. If I wasn't, you know? I don't know. I think it'd be fun if I went through the Chapter 2 Derpy movie and do like a short commentary on it. Because I don't know if I do it later, it might be less relevant or whatever. So I wanted to do that real quick. Let me just recompose myself. Because that was a lot of work. As I set this up. Or if you guys watched the video. I don't know how to do this. I guess I'll just my face. I guess that's fine. I guess I can like full screen it. Probably won't have sound, so you can hear me. But yeah, it's I want to just talk about this real quick. Yeah, I'll go over it. It is pretty surreal to have this like out. In a pretty finished state. I don't know. It's never finished. It's just released, kind of thing. I don't know. It does feel weird. That's like, I feel like I can keep working on it, you know, for 5 or 10 years to get this really good. But I think at this point, it's like, I think it's just done. So obviously, it's not done because there's still like 6 or 7 or 8 more parts to do. So this is just part 2 to it. I could play it in slow motion just for fun, so I can talk about it as it kind of goes. But yeah, using the same intro from last time just for continuity and just because it was easier. Thanks for that one comment to say like it's kind of like the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire intro. That's exactly what it is. Little weird things that are like literally the last minute. Like I think on Friday or Saturday. I think I uploaded on Sunday. It's like 2 days before I uploaded it. I changed this shot like a lot. If you notice and go back to like the first chapter, like this door is redesigned now. and the train conductor's cutie mark actually flips correctly. So now it's always 9 o'clock. So small things like that. And then some texture stuff up here. Yeah, it changed to like 3 o'clock when you flipped around the first time. So a little weird small like that. Yeah, just making sure that all this kind of works is basically the hardest part. Also, like 2 days before, I changed this shot. Weird development things of like, the original version had like her like in a 3/4 and then sitting here. So basically, she would like teleport. She was here, and then she'd be in a different position over here, lower on the ground, in a different pose. Just like, but the only thing that changed was just a zoom in cut, and then she would like look up and then sit down. So I've been working on this for 2 years for this section, and only like 2 days ago did I realize that maybe I can change that. So now it's like this. So this is a little bit choppy, but it definitely works on full motion. So I like smoke later on. Didn't have to train passengers since like only like 2 months ago. A lot more details and a lot more fully is added in. A lot more stuff is just like everywhere. But most of the animation for a lot of this has been consistent with my original animation, so that was good. I didn't have to change much of this. Yeah, this was really our first like 3D sections, which is, you guys saw me animate that shot. I'm just so glad that most of this is actually just working. That's just like a big relief to have this. I actually go back like this whole like section with this shot was only like up to like here, and then it would cut. So like the snake would just lift her hand up and then cut. So now it extended like whoop up more and then a jewel off. So so I'm adding more details to the things than I had originally. So basically like this year I've just been this years of this work, which is weird to say. It's like years before I've been just getting everything else working. Mostly just, I think the first like couple years was just trying to get like the background in 2D and then having the main characters. So basically like only like 2 years ago this would have been Derpy sort of the background and then the other 2 snakes. So everything else has been like the last couple months really have been adding all these guys in, animating them in, as well as 3D shots. So it's been most of this animation has been original. A little bit of refinement. The backgrounds of the outside have been basically redone. The way that I animated it was I had the actual window be a symbol, and then inside of that window symbol I had some kind of looping tree background. And so both of these windows would be separate, but they would have like the same inside animation of the trees going along. So only took me this year again to like go, huh, maybe that doesn't work. And so I cut out holes in the wall and then actually had a background that has animation of a whole bunch of stuff happening. So like actually these are now holes that I can have like a tree actually go across it and it doesn't actually clip or whatever. Because original just had it be literally a tree go along and then it would go invisible because I like the mask on a window. So the other window would not have that other tree that would go along. So weird stuff like that. That's just like I've actually learned how to do animation as I've gone along. So I think in this shot I took a screenshot of the 3D set of the train, which I had on hand. So I used a 3D shot of this train in this shot, an angle, and then redrew and like traced around it to get the same kind of shapes of the these bits to look closer to what they would have been in the 3D version. So in case when we skip back and forth between 2D and 3D shots, then it'll look more consistent because I'm using the same assets as the 3D one, but they're just rendered in 2D. So these are 2D pictures of the 3D-ish perspective. So, yeah. That was another thing. That was a long thing to figure out, like, with discussion. With most of it's just been figuring out between myself. No one else has really been helping with this. Long discussion to figure out whether or not, like, she takes the, you know, the necklace. So it was a long trying to figure out whether or not I wanted it to be a permanent fixture on her. And I was like, well, I could. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice, like, say that, like, she has a necklace and she's got to keep it. And then, obviously, it'd be hard to take it off. But I found a way. So, I just thought, like, if I have it on, I feel like I doubted myself that I have the confidence that I would keep the necklace on for every single shot that it would be on there. Just because I keep swapping, I swap between a bunch of different, not really walk cycles, like snake walk cycles. So the snake walk cycles are like different symbols again, where, oh, this one's like a running one, or this one's slower, or this one's this angle. So if for one of them, you know, if I feel like I might have made a newer walk cycle or whatever, and then I forgot to put the necklace on, I feel like that would have lost continuity. So, and I probably wouldn't, you know, look through it carefully enough. So I just felt like it'd be just easier to have it just take it off. Whoop, and it's, I don't know. So this was most complicated 3D shot. Sort of, I think so. This was the iconic, like, how some directors like make an iconic, like, some kind of scene, or, you know, whatever the most visual stunning picture for the movie. It's like, what is your movie boiled down to in one scene or shot or image? I feel like this was mine for, like, up to now, I guess. That this particular, like, couple seconds was my iconic, like, whatever I thought would be the most visually stunning. I know that's kind of early into it, but I feel like it's definitely, it was my testing ground to see if I could do 3D. Play a little bit more to just, like, yeah, it's this went through a lot of iterations just to, like, play around with this particular shot, because I wanted it to be her going through a bunch of different train cards. It only turned out to be one, but just because I had to add, like, more characters and make the scene, like, way too long, and it's just like they're walking slow. But yeah, I probably told you a bunch of times that I tried to use After Effects to make the 3D stuff. So I probably could have used an actual 3D modeler thing, like the classic 4D or whatever it's called, the After Effects plugin, Cinema 4D. I could have used that, but I think it's expensive, as well as it doesn't have enough. Like, it only works with After Effects stuff, where you can only really put it into an After Effects thing. So if I wanted to, like, input or take the After Effects thing, that was just gonna be more complicated. So came up with a way to just use Blender, and then that took a long time of trial and error as well to figure out, like, how to incorporate 2D images, as well as making the lighting. Lighting was hardest part, which looks fantastic. I'm really happy how the lighting with this turned out. Where, like, the colors are color perfect pretty much to the 2D shots. So I'm very happy with. I stuck around to figure that out. Because one of my earlier attempts with Blender was just, like, have a bunch of, like, lights, and then the lights would somehow be an upper head and then, like, a lower light. So the lights would be, like, looking at each other, and that should erase shadows. And it's like, if I wanted to, like, a bigger, you know, scene, it's like, well, if I'm gonna fall off, there might be some shadows, you know, at the edges or something. So found a way, and it's just like using HDRIs and using a plugin for easy HDRI. Go figure with that, as well as turning some gamma off as well. So it was huge trial and error just to figure this out, and it's like it works. I mean, if you, like, study it like this, is like, you can definitely tell that it's 3D, which kind of works in that kind of favor, that it's like, oh, look, it's 3D rather than, oh wow, did you animate the? It's like, I don't know. And then the next part will be somewhere completely different. Whoa, where are they going? Kind of mystery of that, which would have been not a mystery if you just had it as a movie, where it'd just be, you know, cut to the next shot. So now you gotta wait for the next part. So obviously the next part is gonna be a bigger set than the train, so that's gonna pose its own challenges of now how to deal with scale, while trying to make sure that my computer doesn't blow up with having too much assets. So yeah, you know. But yeah, there we go. 40 is gonna be fun. Didn't really talk about the music just because I had it muted, but music, I orchestrated it all. I composed all the music. I'm sure there's some inspirations here and there, but most of them just my own little trills with that. Where it's like, oh, the thing fell and they go boop boop boop. You know, we picked it up. Boop boop. It's kind of like weird stuff like that. So, cloud is held up by the string. Yeah, that was in part 1 too. Hopefully that, you know, won't be a big thing that'll come up. Let me go back to Totem actually. There we go. Before I close more things. So yeah, there we go. Just wanted to talk about that while it's still kind of fresh in our minds. So go watch it. Now I just got a little more, hopefully a little more appreciation for just really just how much time I'm putting into these. So I'll probably work on it maybe this week. I don't know. I'm taking a little bit of a mental break really from it, from everything, just so I can come back more fresh than trying to, you know, slog through that long, you know, final minutes, kind of like upload and then immediately go into the next one. It's just like, I gotta take a little break. So yeah, for the last couple of days I've been taking a nice little, you know, mental break from it. So hopefully, yeah, I don't know, you know, I didn't even know when this part was going to be uploaded. So it's out when it's out, and it's just like when it feels finished enough, even though like, yeah, I know like I felt like I could have published it like a week earlier, but you saw like how many times like, oh, like the last couple days I changed this and this. So it's like, yeah, I gotta add more time so I can make it even better. But it's like at the same time, it's like, well, now it's like 3 months later, so that time got a little bit away from me with that. Okay, see you then. But yeah, it is a true passion project where I want to really get this good. I don't know why. It's just like it feels like a project that I do feel like I want to make it as best as it can be, and it's fun. It has big enough of a scope. It has large enough of a scope that it's like now we're here and then we're here, but they're all like story-wise like very compartmentalized. That it feels like, oh, now we're here for this bit. Now we're completely different place for this bit, kind of thing. So, yeah. For the whole project, I'm not sure when that'll be done. I mean, my original guess was to get it done like in 2018, so a little bit past that. But now I'm spending more time on it, since this year. I want it to be my magnum opus. I don't know. I feel like at the same time that I've worked on it too early, that I feel like if I waited like a couple more years, I could have done it with the new aesthetic, my new chibi flat colored style, that I would have felt a little bit more happy working with that, because I feel like it's kind of like, what's it called, like outdated or obsolete kind of feeling to go back into the paper derpy models. Now it's like it feels so archaic to use them, that it's like not as fun as if I was using more refined and better tuned and slightly easier to animate puppets that have, you know, used the experience from the paper derpy models to see, oh, that doesn't work. Let me see if I can make it more efficient So, so small stuff like that, that's just like, it does build up with like, it kind of creates a barrier of my mind that's like, I don't want to really work on it just because of those reasons that the models were outdated. At the same time, it's like I could go and like try and make them better, but it's like, I don't know. The way that I set things, a lot of them up, a lot of the parts are set up in a lot of weird ways. That is like, oh boy. I know like if I released this in 2018, then this would have been definitely my magnum opus. But now it's like, I can do better than this in a weird way. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I don't work on it, if I started a new magnum opus now, then this one won't be ever really done. So, committed to get this done. Not much more than that. Hope to get the dirt part out, which has a bigger scale. A lot more things I want to add into it, which is a dangerous thing to say. I'm trying to get this done. It's like, oh, I want to add more things. A lot more things I want to like have as background things. I know my storyboards I kept it very, very light. Just like, again, like, the only things in the storyboards are Derpy and the snakes, basically just running around. But what I want to have is a bunch of like background gags and stuff that happens, where it's like characters, fly by like 1 second and go, whoa, what's going on? Where they react and go, whoa, So that's gonna be interesting to whether or not I go for that full mile, like making it super, expansive of all that. But at the same time, it's like I also want to get this done. So yeah. I think that's about it for that. I don't know. How long did it take for part 2 to come out? I don't remember. It was like February to May. February, March, April, May. So that's 4 months. I don't really count what's going on with the world to like be a huge thing to like delay myself personally. I've been able to just work on it regularly. So, I feel like I don't want to put a number in there, but it seems, probably around the same time. I don't know. So, I'm not at part 1, from when I wanted it to, when I started production to when it uploaded. I mean, that was more than a couple years. So, by that standard, I'm getting faster. The first part took like 2 years to get out, and the second part took like 4 months. That's pretty good. I don't know. I feel like it might be the same or a little bit longer. Probably because I want to like... Because I feel like just for the second part, for this one, I feel like the whole use of time was mostly to figure out the pipeline. So I feel like if I didn't have that, figuring out 3D, using different rendering tools and lighting stuff and all that kind of extra stuff, I feel like it could have came out earlier. But, I don't know. Would have used that time to make things even better in some other regards, like adding more props and stuff. But now it's like I could use this time to make a part 3 to be refining everything. Like I could use quotes, higher quality models to be able to animate it in a different way or more efficiently. But I've already animated some of it. I'll have to look through it to see like what the cost of it to reanimate some of the parts. I think I probably just like posed them in different positions, which should be what the storyboard says. So that shouldn't be too hard. So I don't think there's much animation. I think just for like that the last shot where like she's on the grass and then she looks up, I think that's in the same file as the rest of part 3. So that'd be the only thing that I'm a little bit worried about. Unless I like change I'm thinking out loud now. What's the logistics of trying to figure out how to do that? Would we have to like make a completely separate model just so I can keep the original version's animation? Yeah. The other option, which is completely out there, is to reanimate, or not really reanimate, but just start afresh with Toon Boom and animate from there. again, the cost of that will be what we were going to talk about earlier with if I wanted to, what was I saying? If I wanted to like remake everything to just work with Toon Boom, and that might make efficiency sort of go up, I would think, but at the same time, I'm actually kind of getting used to how the archaic original versions kind of work, that now I'm kind of able to probably work even better because I've already been experienced with them than trying to use my weird roundabout way to try to animate them. So probably I don't know. I feel like I probably just want to use my original version just because it's like, it's already here. I know how to use it, so probably just convince myself right now, and it's like, might as well. Just kind of keep going with it. But yeah, I think that's about it for all that. Other general stuff would be that it's GLaDOS or whatever will be on Thursday. I'll draw that. And then next couple weeks, I guess up until July or June. Hopefully it's June. Finish the rest of these up. Let me drink. Oh yeah. Won't bother reanimating or making any big changes for any movie. Yeah, we'll see. I'll think about the cost and how much production production time I guess that would take to reanimate or recreate things, because everything's pretty much set, really good with Flash. That it just seems like, yeah, the time it take to like remake everything might have longer term benefits, especially if I'm gonna make this for so long. That's like, there's a possibility, actually a pretty high possibility, that the movie will be not finished before Flash Player is eradicated from browsers. If you don't know, the exported versions of Flash, SWF files are a specific type of file, and they're had some weird history, and now they're being in December 2020, so the end of the year. The swap file format will not be easily accessible. I don't know if it's completely getting rid of eradicated, but it probably won't be automatically like available, or if you go to a site that has a swap, it probably won't like boot up, or it might be some security thing or something probably will happen with that. So yeah, the program that I'm going to be using to animate will probably be eradicated from browser before I finish this movie. That'd be interesting. You forgot about it? Yeah, it's this year. I don't know why they told us about it like last year. Probably just get every developer to get used to it. Or like that's a big heads up. But yeah. So again, yeah, we'll continue with this. Yeah, I don't know how. I'll just work on a movie and everything else I'm working on. With the Midnight Mares, get those designs working. Hopefully we'll get new applicants. Or we got applicants. Hopefully we'll accept those applicants. And we'll have more people working on it. So it won't just be me working on everything. Which is fine, but it's just like the variety of stuff that we have to do is a little bit bigger than what I would want to, expect to be doing. So, anyway. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this was fun. A little bit rushed. I think it turned out alright. Kind of works out as minimalistic. But anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. See ya. Bye bye.